Copenhagen Wolves. But the amount that everyone is talking Shook up is like the best jungler. We just got to see it. Oh, his ganks just work. He has amazing synergy with Froggen. What do those things really mean? We need to see them in game.
Yeah, well, we heard from Aaron A yesterday saying he was singing the praises, but also talking to some other junglers. You know, the egos maybe rubbing a little bit. They're like, yeah, he's good, but we're better.
If you're your own LCS player, whenever someone else says this other guy is great, you're just like,
no,
nah, man.
No, I'm better than him. But we'll see how this develops, because this is game one. The Battle Atlantic, the hype, the Europe versus NA, it's all back on, guys. Get those spammed in the forum and Twitch chat, no doubt. I could just only imagine how it is right now. USA. I had to suffer.
Is there one for
chants.
EU? I don't think there's one for EU. It's like USA, and then it's like EU.
No, we don't chant that because we don't need to.
Yeah, it's the European Alliance.
No, we just don't need to chant USA. We just don't have a chance. I mean, we're not going to chat EU because mostly we don't get on.
So this is really confusing to me, actually, what just happened in picks and bans. I was expecting Alliance to target ban Kiwi Kid's supports a little bit because he mainly just plays Taric and Annie, and they've only went for the Annie ban. So I would actually think they'll pick Taric eventually. I don't think it's going to come around to the other side on Kazmich.
Fast picks coming through here. Shyvana and Olaf locked in. These are big ones. Froggen highlighting Anivia. Pretty sure he's not going to lock that one in. But these two champions that Dignitas picked here, they are big in 2014 so far.
They've already picked a monstrous tank line on the side of Dignitas. We'll let Froggen and Wicked have their moment, though.
Yeah.
Aurelia and Anivia. They're the ones that have been together for a while.
Guys.
They'll switch it up soon. Really, though, while they're playing with champions, the tank line here from Dignitas, it's interesting because Olaf was banned at all 4 matches yesterday, or in the Relic Promotion tournament. It's going to be the jungle Olaf and the top lane Shyvana. That fits Cruiser's champion pool, and Olaf is very huge early on in the jungle for Crumbs, who can play a farming style. Those are both really solid starters.
And Kha'Zix's a champion that Scar's been playing a lot of in solo queue. I know that for a fact because I've been looking at his builds. So I was checking that one out. But it does look like Lucian, who has become effectively one of the flavors since he came out, one of the favorites, and Renekton in that top lane. These are champions that some of these champions just weren't making it through picks and bans in the promo series yesterday.
No, definitely not. I mean, Renekton, because we had Youngbuck in that series, he only got to play it once.
Yeah.
You saw why he only got to play it once, because he dominated with it. And it's kind of a classic pick for Wicked. Wicked has always been a tanky top laner who likes to sit up there and farm and just kind of be an immovable object. That kind of pick makes sense for him.
These picks, I tell you what, there's some strong champions
Dignitas is getting what they want
here. They have got Sivir now, Gragas for Scar. Well, we've seen Scar on Gragas throughout Season 3, but Sivir, I'm interested to see how Cutie Pie is going to run this one.
Yeah, I look at Dignitas' entire composition, though, and it seems like they're getting almost nothing denied from them.
Yes.
Sure, Scar didn't get to play Kha'Zix, but if we're talking about the old Season 2 throwback, Scar's always been a big-time Gragas player. They got the tank line they wanted. I'm a Cutie Pie will be a natural Sivir player just because I've seen him, he liked playing it even before the rework, and now it's just immensely strong, often ban-worthy. They haven't even denied Kiwi Kid's support pool whatsoever. Like, if Dignitas doesn't do well with this team composition, they're going to be in trouble for the rest of the series.
And what is Kazmich going to go with for that support? We know he's got a couple of supports that he can play. Are we going to see that Zilean? This is what we've heard about.
Yep.
This is what he's played a bit of. Be interesting to see how that comes out because it affects the entire team.
I'm real excited about this. This will be...
Whoa!
Yeah.
Zilean support, ladies and gentlemen.
This will be the first Zilean support I get to be a part of casting. It's happened once over in the OGN, and we've seen a lot of people talking about it because this is one of Kazmich's 3 main supports that he plays in solo queue, and it's definitely not something Dignitas has had time to play up against.
Yeah, this is definitely a change. Obviously, Nidalee coming through has had the changes in 3.14, which is what we're playing on. And just to remind you guys at home, Rengar is banned. That's why you're not seeing him banned or picked. He is banned from this tournament, which is why he's not been selected so far. Final pick for Dignitas. What will it be? Karma support is a possibility. It has been played quite a lot in the OGN over the last few days.
Yeah, so I'm expecting him to dance between maybe this and a Taric. If he picks the Karma, it's because they're trying to stack just crazy amounts of move speed already with Shyvana and Olaf. If they throw the Karma in with the Sivir ult, those guys will be almost unkiteable in the team fights. It just gives their laning much less kill potential against the Zilean, and they might end up getting bullied a little bit when they go into that lane.
And there is so much mobility in
They're
the Dignitas lineup right now.
They are such a fast team right now. They don't necessarily have that much crowd control aside from the spammed axes and the slows that Karma can throw out, but that won't necessarily matter because they're so fast. I really want to see how that works. Dignitas with the speed, and you look at Alliance, just by the fact that they have Nidalee and Lucian, that's almost perfect poke comp right from there. Lucian and Nidalee are great at just keeping the other team out of range and kiting backwards. The real question will be, is Dignitas have enough move speed to catch up to Alliance when Alliance starts poking it? This is pretty
How do you break that siege? You break it with a Gragas barrel.
Yeah, if they get close enough, that's the thing. Like, Gragas barrel does have really high range, but it's not longer than a spear, right?
Yes.
Lucian potentially is the one that can get caught in. And then there's obviously the one final wrinkle. Team fighting against Zillion changes things because catching out one person might just be the end of it.
The revive pops in there and suddenly you scream at your screen. As we get set for the fight between the Alliance and Dignitas, though, remember that the Battle of the Atlantic will be continuing tomorrow. That is Sunday with Bjergsen and Team Solo Mid taking on the Lemon Dogs. Interesting to see the Peke already putting his words in there. Well, whoever wins that, Europe wins technically.
Yeah, he's saying Bjergsen is making all of TSM European, which is probably like the most American team we have. So like, yep, European team.
There's a couple of Canadians and the odd one Canadian.
Yeah, but they're like the.
There's a Hawaiian, a Canadian.
They're the team that everyone has got
behind.
behind.
America, so
American.
Yeah.
Odd one's Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Darius, Hawaiian.
Darius is Hawaiian. Yeah. Where's Wild Turtle from? They're in America somewhere.
The beach.
It's a big old country. There's a couple of 100 million of you in there. But right now, this is it. The start of the Battle of the Atlantic. Alliance, the brand new team, as the blue team up against Dignitas, the old foes maybe, in the red team. They are having to defend or invade, effectively, the home soil of Europe and see who draws first blood.
And right off the bat, I want to see if we get a 2v2 lane, because this is something I've been waiting to see from supports for a while. Kazmich has not started with a standard support item. He's went with more wards. If he can get some lane control early on, Alliance might have superior warding, which could potentially enable Shook to make a couple extra plays out of the jungle.
Already the axes being thrown, the spears going through, but nobody really landing. And going off yesterday's matches in the promotion series where Copenhagen Wolves versus Mio Makers, the invades were coming, but they weren't engaging with each other.
And in this game, yeah, if they ran into each other at level 1, we could see some action, but these aren't teams that are built for level 1. These guys are just kind of waiting out the early game, and I really want to see how the team compositions and laning phases actually take shape, because we have to mention again, Dignitas got pretty much exactly what they wanted. The only thing I could really see is, obviously, Alliance's bans were kind of haphazardly thrown around. They banned out one of Cruiser's champions in Dr. Mundo. They banned out one of Scar's champions in Kha'Zix, and one of Kiwi Kid's champions with Annie. But everyone on Dignitas goes more than one deep. They didn't really target anyone with these, and I think Dignitas is going to be incredibly comfortable here.
There's also a bit of a different start coming out from Kazmich here. He hasn't gone with the coin, which a lot of supports pretty much rely on these days.
We definitely have to see, since we have the 2v2 matchup already taking shape, where that plays out. Another thing with the Zillion support, it's like, if that comes in, importantly, how is he going to have gold in later game? How long is it going to take him to get that ancient coin?
We will see, of course. Don't forget, he'll be giving experience to the rest of the team as well.
Yeah, and that's actually the key part why a lot of people play Zillion. And Shook isn't actually going for it right now, but there's a thing you can do with Zillion support. If your jungler takes one experience quint, does the blue buff, and then the red buff straight, he gets level 3, just like in Season 3. It's something you can't do on the 2014 season. And we were talking actually with the NIP guys about that. They were telling us about Kazmich's strategy with support Zillion, but Shook is doing the slow jungle clear. He's not going for the rush level 3. He's just happy farming.
So we'll see who really goes for the first attempt, the first kill at the moment. It's a slow start, as I kind of expected between these two teams, because there's a lot of honor on the line, a lot of bragging rights on the line, and also for Alliance, a lot of hype on the line behind them. So Dignitas.
No, they're definitely the underdogs here. People aren't expecting Kiwi Kid to do well on support. Everyone is just kind of saying, oh, he died the most in the top lane. Let's just move him down to the bottom lane as support. What does that really solve? How is he going to play against world-class bottom lanes? But if there's a time for him to succeed, it's when there's not too much pressure on him, because no one's expecting him to succeed, and Tabs and Kazmich don't necessarily have world-class synergy yet, since they are also a very new duo.
But I would argue that Tabs potentially has more experience than QtPie as well, because while he obviously came in quite low, it's going to be a gank. They're going in towards KiwiKid. They've already put the slowdown on the bomb. Can they land the Cocoon? That's going to be the important one. The Cocoon doesn't land, but it's Shook that lives up to the hype and gets first blood.
That was a very impressive, just brute force gank that went through. QtPie is always going to be pushing the lane. And the fact that just the Zillion slow, which lasts very long, by the way, was enough to let everyone catch up and kill him is a dangerous thing for Dignitas. That gank will continue to happen if Alliance wants it.
Well, right now, the top lane, they're going to poke back and forward. Cruiser the Bruiser, or just Cruiser as he's known in this one, is going to struggle out against Renekton early on in these levels.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Shyvana versus Renekton matchup. You pick Shyvana against Renekton because you can keep up and farm, and then once you hit around level 8 with Shyvana, you can start outscaling. That was one of the things that happened yesterday when we saw the Renekton versus Shyvana matchup. We saw Shyvana try and fight Renekton early, and Renekton pushed him back because he has more sustain early. So Wicked should have the upper hand in this lane for a little while yet.
Oh, Cruiser has support from Crumbs coming around, but unfortunately he just passed straight through a ward. Wicked will be aware of his presence, but hasn't backed away. And Wicked, used to famously be known for basically not using wards because he had full confidence in his abilities to escape the ganks.
And he always has a great game sense of where things are coming from. This is gank number 2.
Going straight in for QtPie once again. Is the Cocoon going to come through? No. This time Spell Shield was used at the right time by QtPie, and he does back away.
I still feel like that was a relatively successful gank, though, because Shook didn't take that much time. He ran directly down, got the gank off, got QtPie really low, which will have a heavy impact on the lane, and then went right back to sweeping through the jungle. So it was an efficient gank that did a pretty good job of getting QtPie low. Taking some bursts there, but no follow-up really. KiwiKid really targeting on Kazmich because Tabs is staying so far back in this lane. And he can, because at the moment, there's no gank pressure from Crumbs, since Crumbs was spotted in the top lane ward by Wicked, and Kazmich is free to kind of do whatever he wants, since there's no way QtPie is committing on him because he's so low from the previous Shook gank.
Let's have a look at that mid lane. We haven't had a great deal, although saying that, Kazmich is about to get leashed out here, slowing down, but again, no follow-on. He's just going to keep on the aggression himself, and that's going to force Kazmich to back off. Didn't have to use any flash, though, to get out of that one. Crumbs is coming around to try and help out, warding that tri-bush. And there's actually no ward coverage from Alliance right now in the bottom lane.
Yeah, all of their wards are still pretty much sitting in Kazmich's inventory. He started the game with sight wards and vision wards, still got them right there. And he actually picked up a Doran shield. Since they got Kazmich so low, they're just trying to take that dragon.
Good pressure coming out. Oh, the Cocoon just flashing past on Skara, but it will be the dragon and his Dignitas that will be taking it. That's going to keep them up in gold because they have started to fall behind from lane phase.
And keep in mind, on the 2014 season, the dragon very early on in the game is worth a little bit less. You can see that was only 125 gold per Dignitas team member, and they're still down in gold in the game despite picking up that objective.
There's a big advantage down to be cleaved out on that top lane by Wicked against Cruiser. Cruiser forced on towards that turret. 15 CS behind once again. Froggen just lingering off in the bush trying to land that spear on towards Skara, but instead takes a barrel in the backside for his problems, and they have both hit their ultimates, so we'll see whether they start coming into play. Right now, though, Crumbs is starting on that blue, and of course, Skara is going to come across and pick it up.
And we haven't even talked about our featured matchup right here with Skara against Froggen. It seems like they're farming pretty close. Can he steal this?
Yes, he
got
can.
It. That was just a really heads-up play by Froggen and a bit of a lazy play by Skara and Crumbs. Skara was very obvious about when he was going to be going and getting his blue buff, and Froggen knew which direction Skara went so he could safely throw a spear just to check. And then Crumbs and Skara didn't time the barrel to kill right as he threw it. The spear preempted it, and Froggen got the blue.
And that, of course, gives the blue to Shook. We'll see how he uses that one, because at least, well, he can benefit from that one quite heavily. Already going for that jungle invade. He's actually going to find Crumbs at the red buff.
Yeah, this could be rather dangerous since Froggen is already pushed up. Crumbs is only level 5. Shook's going to try to combo.
He's going to go straight in there, and you can see Crumbs having to hit that ghost already to get the hell out of there. Dodge, and immediately he's going to try and follow through. Puts a lot of poison damage down to Crumbs. That's going to force him away. Meanwhile, down the bottom, Kazmich trying to use the bomb on himself and KiwiKid. Tab's actually out of position, uses the Cullen, catches him perfectly. QtPie uses that barrier. Is it going to be enough? Gets the ignite down, and Kazmich hasn't hit level 6, so can't get his ultimate off, but it's going to be a double kill for Tabs.
You could see that Dignitas got caught in a bad place right there as Kiwi Kid and I'mACutiePie were just getting hit one after the other by either bombs or tabs. Yes, they got Kazmich, but that doesn't matter right there. A double kill onto tabs is going to do huge things for them in that matchup.
Just caught out of position, going too aggressive, and the culling was just perfectly lined up for them. They had to use their flashes to get out of it. So inhibitor spells, summoner spells burned out as well. Double buffs coming in towards this mid lane. Shook and Froggen trying to get on towards that tower, and that tower's actually taken a good bit of damage.
Yeah, the early game right now from Alliance has been absolutely dominating. It doesn't seem like the I'mACutiePie and Kiwi Kid Karma Sivir lane is working out all that well. When they were pushed up, they got ganked. When they tried to make a play, they got double killed, and they're running out of options in that bottom lane.
Well, we see the actual Ruby Crystal coming out from tabs after that BF sword, so he went back and got himself a little bit more health, wants to keep himself a little bit more damaging, and of course the Cocoon coming in towards Skara. Actually, Shook going heavy on this one. The Spear's landing, that's going to force Skara to back away.
Shook has had a much higher presence in this game so far when compared to Crumbs. You can just see all of Shook's ganks have had an impact so far, whether it's getting someone low or getting the kill, and he's been able to control the jungle with the help of Froggen.
Spears from Froggen continue to land. Crumbs is forced to back away this time, and you can see the dominance they've had, and now they're rotating around. They could push the bottom, and that's got to be a careful worrying sign, but instead, they've got free reign in this middle.
And this is a smart call because they know that both Dignitas' jungler and mid laner, Scar and Crumbs, had to go back and may as well get as much damage on the second interior tower because everyone else on Dignitas is accounted for. This is a no-risk push.
That's a hell of a lot of damage gone down as well. A good 3/4 of the health stripped off that inner turret. Meanwhile, Wicked farming between the turrets in this top lane, and you can see 100 CS to 69. Cruiser is not having a fun time up there right now.
Well, Cruiser has hit that level 9 point. He needs to find a window to go aggressive, but he just doesn't have that right now.
Skara having to dash away from this one. They're not going to land the Cocoon. He will be able to back off from that one. Meanwhile, the gank down the bottom. He does manage to land the culling, but his Kazmich is going to get caught out. Has got his ultimate available, pops it, and he's within tower range, which means Dignitas, they can't follow through in this one. They managed to land the axis, but he's safe.
Dignitas had to give a lot of respect to Tabs' damage while the revive was timing up. I think they could have gotten a kill, but it would have costed them. And since Crumbs ganked the bottom lane, Skara doesn't have any help in this mid lane. They're going to lose that second tier turret.
That's an inner turret going down, and well, Alliance suddenly turned that aggression around to get 2 turrets along the mid lane, and Skara's thinking, I'm going to start needing help here. We see Crumbs just off at the side of the Wolves, but there's not a lot of help coming from there. And looking in the top lane again, look at Wicked. He's been between these lanes the entire time, and he's just farming away like nothing ever happened to him.
Alliance is winning every facet of the game right now. They gave one dragon away, but it was early on in the game, and it's because they were just so handily winning all of their other lanes. Unless Dignitas does something drastic here, Alliance is just outplaying them.
Kiwi Kid has been focusing Kazmich as much as he can. He is landing the shots, but there's just not a lot of follow-up coming in right now. Every time we see the boomerang blade coming out from CutiePie, it's just falling short because, of course, Kazmich only can speed himself up even if he gets slowed.
Yeah, and Kazmich not starting with that ancient coin has only cost him about 180 gold in gold generation now that he's picked it up right now. Kiwi Kids has gotten him about 210, whereas Kazmich is sitting around 50. So it's not that bad of a thing based on the lane advantages they were able to grab with that early Doran shield as well. Things are going well all across the map.
Well, 20 seconds until Dragon. We see Cruiser heading south, looking like they're going to try and set up for this one. But Wicked, he doesn't really care about that. He's continuing to stick in that top lane, keep farming going. Meanwhile, they're trying to get the pressure down. You can see Kiwi Kid's going to try and chase onto this one. He has got a good leash on towards Tabs, but pops the call in and could try and turn this one around. We see the most members of Alliance also coming around the side there. They know that the blue buff is up. They're going to see if they can steal it again.
And this is not a thing they can steal since Shyvana is down in the bottom lane. This is going to be something where Alliance has to concede because Wicked is getting a tower in the top lane.
We'll see how long he sticks up there. Looks like he's not going to be making any moves, so instead it is all going to be about harassing Dignitas on this dragon. And they've got 4 members of Alliance around here with spears and the culling available. Actually, the culling's not up at the moment because it was just used So Dignitas are going to have to try and brute force this one.
It is a 4v5. Wicked is not there yet, but we could see a fight anyway.
PewDiePie caught out, bomb goes in, shoot goes deep, and immediately gets caught out, but that's the Zilean ultimate once again playing its role, and it stopped them fighting the Dragon right now. They're going to chase back in, the Dragon has reset itself, they flash out of it, Wicked in trouble, Wicked is now joining the fray, and Crumbs is in all sorts of trouble. He's going to go down, they get across on towards Cruiser, Cruiser's going to get caught on, Froggen and Wicked will chase on this one. Meanwhile across on the blue buff, they are chasing on towards PewDiePie and Skara. Now they collapse on, that's going to be a speed buff coming out from Kid. They should get away from this one. The spear's coming through. Spell shield comes out from PewDiePie. That will be enough to save him. And now they make claps up to Froggen. The spear's coming through. Skara's one more barrel. He bounces across the belly slam. Skara gets a return kill.
Even with Froggen going down, Alliance is just one step ahead of Dignitas right here. They delayed long enough by using the Zilean, and that's a lot of synergy that already exists between Shook and Kazmich, which shouldn't really be possible since they haven't been around for that long together. But Shook, knowing
potential in a 5v5 had me thinking this game was basically on paper in the bag for Dignitas, but they did need time to get. They needed Siobhan and Olive to get tanky enough to stay alive while chasing down.